So Newcastle United can only reflect on a costly night here in Europe, getting beat 2-1 off AC Milan on a night where everything was going exactly how they wanted it. They were 1-0 up here, and Borussia Dortmund were in control in Germany. Even a draw for PSG would have been enough for Newcastle to go through with the win here, but they couldn't hold on to that lead. Joe Linton scored in the first half. Second half, Newcastle pushing for a second, but Milan just absorbed the pressure and, you know, started to create a few chances of their own. And really, Newcastle, when they look back on this game, will wonder how it really slipped through their fingers. The equaliser was so uncharacteristic of an Eddie Howe team. It was sloppy, a close range finish, had spats of tiredness about it, spats of fatigue, spats of switching off, but Newcastle then went in pursuit of all 3 points to try and get to the last 16, and in doing so ultimately blew their chance of getting into the Europa League. It's a very difficult one. I mean, Eddie Howe, does he sit back, take a draw and get into the, you know, inferior competition in the Europa League? I mean, we'd all take it now because, you know, Newcastle are completely out of Europe, but, you know, at 1-1, you know, that didn't seem to be in the narrative. Newcastle kept pushing. I was concerned they were overcommitting bodies, they were overstretched. Milan was starting to catch them on the break, and, you know, so it proved. They got a winner with 6 minutes to go, and then it was really, you know, panic stations for Newcastle, trying to push on and get a victory. You know, even Dubravka going up to push on and try and get the equaliser, which would have set up a tense finish, but, you know, Newcastle was spent by then. You know, the injury crisis has left them completely depleted, and they paid the price for that by going out of Europe. There's been a lot of lessons learned on this run. I think Newcastle will, you know, remember some highs, beating PSG here 4-1, picking the point up at the San Siro, you know, almost beating PSG away from home, but, you know, against the experienced European campaigners, your Dortmunds of the world, Newcastle just fell short, and they fell short here against Milan tonight. Naivety perhaps, you know, inexperience definitely, but, you know, one that Newcastle can try and take on now, try and push on to next season, try and get back into Europe. It's been 10 years since they were here. I mean, it had similarities to the Benfica game when they crashed out in 2013, the way the crowd started to show their love, you know, at the death when it was over, and they did that exactly the same thing tonight. So Newcastle beaten here, don't make the Europa League and crash out of the Champions League, you know, at the crucial stage. So for Newcastle, it's a learning curve, and they'll bounce back in the future. I'm pretty sure of that.